few of the problems people develop when the intestinal flora is out of balance. Living Stream's probiotics create the healthy balance needed for good digestion, suppresses growth of pathogenic bacteria, and actually increases resistance to infection. Call the Power Hour, 877-817-9829. Order your Living Stream probiotics today. They're available in 2, 4, and 8-ounce bottles, and Living Stream's probiotics comes with a money-back guarantee. Get your body back in balance with Living Stream's probiotics today. 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829. Living Stream's probiotics. Everyone should be pro-life.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. All over America, people are suffering from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, irregular heartbeat, clogged arteries, and high cholesterol. Can you live your life free from sickness, pain, and fear, and experience your body healing itself? Look to Heart and Body Extract, an all-natural supplement that aids ailing bodies. It has an exclusive formula of wild-crafted and organic herbs. End the pain without all the side effects of prescription drugs. People 20 years younger will envy your vitality. Want a happier, healthier you? Then go to heartandbody.com or call toll-free 866-295-5305 for free information. Heart and Body Extract offers a lifetime guarantee with no price increase in over 14 years. What are you waiting for? Call Heart and Body now at 866-295-5305 for your free information. Go to heartandbody.com, 866-295-5305. Distributor inquiries welcome.
In the U.S. alone, a home invasion occurs every 13 seconds. On top of that, the average response time for 911 is over 15 minutes. That just won't cut it. Don't allow yourself or the important people in your life to be victims. When seconds matter, don't be caught stumbling for your firearm. Get the protection you deserve. Get yourself a hidden holster from hiddenholster.com. It's the original hidden holster. The hidden holster is quick, easy, and convenient. It's versatile enough for the home, workplace, or virtually anywhere else you might need it. Have peace of mind with your firearm close by at all times. Go to hiddenholster.com. That's hiddenholster.com. If you own a firearm, you need a hidden holster. Your protection matters, and self-defense is the best defense. Go to hiddenholster.com. That's hiddenholster.com. The original hidden holster.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Thank you for joining us. Okay, here's one of those stories that you need to sort of duct tape your head together with. Boy Scouts have been banned from water pistol fights because they involve simulated firearms. I kid you not. Boy Scouts in the U.S. have been all but prohibited from engaging in water gun fights and water balloon tomfoolery by scouting officials, citing a lack of kindness in the activity. What child, when they were growing up years ago, didn't do water balloons? They probably want them to be playing video games on a couch, eating Fritos, drinking Kool-Aid, and not getting any exercise. Anyway, the old law, it's just the old way of doing so many things, even, dodgeball doesn't happen today. Water pistols and other toys such as rubber band guns, potato guns have been banned for anything other than target practice. And eye protection must be worn. Well, I have no problem with eye protection. According to page 99 of the 2015 Boy Scout Handbook. The handbook also provides ludicrous guidelines stating, for water balloons, use small biodegradable balloons. Fill them no larger than a ping pong ball. Oh, my gosh. Former scouts weighed in, declaring the rules, which will apply to hundreds of thousands of scouts, as out of touch. Unflaming believable, ladies and gentlemen. Do not fill the balloons any more than a ping pong ball. 5 major banks plead guilty to market rigging, fined $5.7 billion. Truth in Media on Wednesday, the Department of Justice announced that 5 major banks, Barclays, Royal Bank of Scotland, JP Morgan Chase, UBS, and Citigroup, will be fined approximately $5.7 billion after pleading guilty to crimes involving the manipulation of global currencies and interest rates. I repeat, $5.7 billion. The DOJ noted that 4 of the banks, Citigroup, JP Morgan, Chase, and Barclays, and the Royal Bank of Scotland, have been forced to plead guilty to antitrust violations in the foreign exchange market after they allegedly worked together to enhance their profits by manipulating the $5 trillion a day foreign exchange market to $10 billion. I don't know. I kind of think jail sounds pretty good. Prison. You know, isn't it funny that they can steal that much money or manipulate that much money and rig that much money? Nothing happens to them. But a guy talks about creationism versus evolution, and he goes to jail for 8 years. Well, there's more involved to it than that, of course, but I notice a bit of a difference there. Oregon is going to test pay-per-mile idea as the replacement for gas tax. And Indiana regulators reject Duke Energy's $1.9 billion plan to install smart meters. You go, guys. New NASA data shows the polar ice cap has not receded since 1979. Really? Then why do they keep talking about it and saying that it has? Anyway, they updated their data from satellite readings, revealing that the planet's polar ice caps have not retreated significantly since 1979. When we come back, 2 children are seized because they're not vaccinated. Uh-oh. We'll be back after this 1 minute, 10-second break. Stay tuned.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that there is no one path right for everyone. I've learned that without my high school diploma, I can only do so much. My options were limited. I found a free personalized learning program with Learn for Life that has a flexible schedule so I could keep my job while earning my high school diploma. I found new career training opportunities that would jumpstart my future. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN, the number 4, LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
KCAA. You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Oil cleanup. D.C. suspect. Prankster in court. I'm Dirk Van. Santa Barbara, California, raking thick, tarry sludge from the beaches this morning after a crude oil pipeline ruptured, spilling an estimated 21,000 gallons into the Pacific. Correspondent Jim Roop.
EPA and U.S. Justice Department records show Plains All-American Pipeline has 10 serious past oil spills, including a burst pipe in Los Angeles around the same time last year.
The pipeline company apologizing for the spill. Duron Went is a wanted man. Police say DNA evidence links the Maryland man to the murders of a wealthy couple, their son, and a housekeeper in Washington, D.C. Correspondent Andrew Spencer.
The break in the case came not from the surveillance footage, but from DNA on the crust of a pizza that had been delivered to the home while the family was held captive inside.
And some prank. The Florida man who landed his gyrocopter on the U.S. Capitol lawn, arraigned today in federal court, could face 9 years in prison. I'm Dirk Van.
Performance Bicycle, where great rides begin. Wants your great ride to start now. Now through Memorial Day, it's the Red Tag Sale at performancebike.com. Over 1,000 items on sale, plus free shipping. Red Tag deals on helmets, clothing, parts, accessories, and hundreds of bikes are priced to sell now. Plus 50 doorbusters at 50% off, but only while supplies last. Don't miss Performance Bicycle's Red Tag Sale, plus free shipping at performancebike.com.
At Olympic, we make every project easy, every step of the way. So now you can easily beautify your outdoor deck with Olympic Elite or Maximum Stain. Or try one of our paint and primers in one, like Olympic One with exclusive Easy Wash formula, or Olympic Icon at a value starting at under $20 per gallon.
This Memorial Day, stop by Lowe's and save $10 on Olympic paints and stains via online and mail-in rebate, exclusively at Lowe's. Results vary by sheen. Offer valid 5/20 through 5/27 and applies to 114 to 128 fluid-ounce cans only.
Good morning, 6:02. Mark Westwood with you on the radio on this Thursday. Taking a look at Inland Empire weather. Well, it looks like we've got some clouds up in the sky. Going to remain that way through the day. About a 30% chance of showers. Otherwise sunny today. And highs around the mid-70s. Lows tonight in the upper 40s to low 50s. Currently 60 degrees at KCAA, 10:50 a.m. Taking a look at Inland Empire weather in Corona. Stop and go traffic at the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and the Lincoln Avenue. We've got the Corona Crawl going. That's right, the Corona Crawl. 91 west is slow from McKinley to Lincoln. Ontario, slow traffic 60 between I-15 and Archibald Avenue. Ontario, 60 west is slow from the 15 to the 71. And in Temecula, slow traffic 15 southbound between Rancho, California and Front Street and Rainbow Valley Boulevard. We have some reports of the 210 being slightly closed at the 10 freeway. You might want to think of an alternative route if you're out in that area. That's a look at weather and traffic from the only station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA, 1050 a.m.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
AgNet West Today, sponsored by Luna by Bayer. Superior efficacy on the most problematic diseases. Check out the difference Luna makes at lunafungicides.com. A step toward repealing cool. The story after this.
You put more into your crops than most people realize. Time, effort, heart, and the not-so-proverbial blood, sweat, and tears. Farming's not just a career. It is your passion. At Compass Minerals, your passion is our commitment. We're proud to offer you Potassium Plus Premium Sulfate of Potash, a high-potassium fertilizer with sulfate sulfur and virtually no chloride. It's the potassium source that brings more to the table, so you can too. Call your local distributor or visit potassiumplus.com.
The House Agriculture Committee has approved legislation that would repeal country of origin labeling for beef, pork, and poultry products by a vote of 38-6. Minnesota Congressman Colin Peterson voted against the bill, saying more than 60 other countries have labeling requirements.
There's obviously distinctions between the EU and what we try to do, but I think it's worth looking at. And I think that we can probably find a workable North American solution if we work at it.
California Representative Jim Costa says the World Trade Organization has spoken, and it's time to move forward to avoid retaliation.
4 times we have failed to convince the World Trade Organization that this is an appropriate means for labeling these food products. Only a few years ago, under the category of lessons learned, we had an issue with Mexico on a trucking dispute, and it resulted in increased retaliatory tariffs that impacted and had long-lasting effects of billions of dollars to the agriculture economy of this country. Let's be clear right now, this today is no longer about labeling. This is to ensure that we aren't dealt devastating impacts to our agriculture economy through economic tariff retaliations.
The bill now goes to the full House with a do-pass recommendation. I'm Sabrina Hill for AgnetWest.com.
An extra large man finds a T-shirt. It's the Onion Radio News. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Enormous fat man Ted Avers has, until recently, had a difficult time finding shirts that fit his extra large frame. Avers, who is in what doctors call the huge weight category, is very pleased with the results of shopping at Guy Jumbo's clothing store on the west side of town.
My brother, he's lucky. He's only extra large, so he can shop anywhere. Me,
I'm really fat.
Avers was so happy with his purchase that he jumped for joy until a massive connective tissue failure resulted in a fat spill that closed the store. Doyle Redland for The Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
In a world of boring talk, misinformation, and mindless chatter, two superheroes emerge. Okay, that sounded manly.
No, you gotta be kidding me.
Let's
go!
The action.
Fridays just got real right here on KCAA. Get ready to pour yourself your favorite beverage and kick it with Ben and Alexander right here. The Happy Hour every Friday evening at 6 on KCAA 1050 AM.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Good morning, good morning. It's Aaron Brinker.
And Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink here on KCAA AM 1050. Got Mark Westwood in the booth. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
That's such a good song. It's just a happy song.
Yes.
I like
Power
it.
song for the morning.
It really is. I like this. It's upbeat. It's good. It's good. So you having a good morning over there?
So far, so good. I got to tell you one thing that I kind of messed up on the traffic report. Apparently, there is the merging from the 10 to the 215 today. That road is coned off, so I want people that are going into that roadway to know that for an alternative route.
Going north or south?
Was it going north or south? North. Going north.
Oh.
So that's
we missed that because where we get on at.
Yeah, it wasn't in our Metro traffic report, but our good man over here, that Bill Schwartz, who I'm interviewing.
There was an accident. I saw it.
There was.
I missed it.
Yeah. So,
I missed it.
Plan an alternative route because it's going to be a mess on that freeway for a minute or two. So.
Yeah. So I guess take Waterman Boulevard to East Street or something like that. Whatever you got to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Waterman or Redlands Boulevard. Yeah. I'm sleepy this morning.
That's all right. So
East Street and Waterman run parallel to one another. So take either one of those.
That's right. And,
Aaron and I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. We had a cat disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was I don't even want to talk about it. Let's just say that sometimes pets are a pain in the neck.
Okay, well, it must have gotten into something, spread something around.
Something like that.
I got a little less sleep yesterday because I was watching the last episode of The Letterman Show.
Oh, how was it?
Oh, it was awesome. He ended this so awesomely. First of all, the show was just, he came to a standing ovation that lasted probably 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
Wow.
And the whole audience, you could tell, was full of the crew and everybody had never been associated with the show. And it was VIPs in that audience. And it must have been quite the ticket to get. And then, it proceeds to the show, does the regular things, the top 10 countdowns, the interaction with Paul Schaefer, and it's their last show. And he makes a whole monologue about himself and jokes about himself and his career. And at one point he says, well, I guess this means I don't get the Tonight Show.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Stuff like that. But at the end was just this video montage to the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters were playing a song, which, I'm not a big Foo Fighters fan, but it was a cool song. It was kind of like that Steve Winwood song. And they were just doing flash, 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 flash. Everything from his Letterman morning show all the way to today.
Wow.
And it was a video montage that probably lasted 10 minutes.
Now, he's been leading the Late Show or been the guy in the chair since like 1980, 81, right?
But he retired once and then came back, remember?
Yeah,
remember because Conan took over for a while?
Oh, that's right. I had forgotten about that.
No, that was Leno. Actually.
Oh, that was Leno.
That was Leno that did that. But no, he went from NBC to CBS, so there was a little intermediary period right there.
That's right. That's right. He did because it was the Tonight Show and then the Late Show, and then the Late Show was canceled on NBC, and then he went to CBS or something like that. Or maybe I have that wrong. I don't know. I don't stay up that late.
Yeah, what happened was originally Leno got the Tonight Show, and he was kind of a little upset about that, so he quit the NBC version of the Late Show
happened?
And went to CBS. Now, the whole Leno other thing with Conan and Leno and everything, that took place about maybe 10 years later.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And so let me tell you about the end of the show. He comes back after this video montage. There's tears in his eyes. You can tell. He says, thank you very much. Paul Schaefer comes in with the Letterman theme, and then they just go and they're showing pictures now of the crew and the people who made it all possible, the behind-the-scenes
Oh,
people.
that's awesome.
And
that's awesome.
That's how it ended. And then said, worldwide pants. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the guy coming on after him, I can't quote his name, but he is awesome. Brand new, replaced
Ferguson, right?
Ferguson, right?
Who I like Ferguson a lot. I'm really never up that late though.
Right. Neither am I, and I was falling asleep and trying to wake myself up, and so I woke up and it was just this British guy doing an awesome job, and he did a car ride with Justin Bieber, which was quite entertaining. If you can go back and look at it, if you've got like a dish DVR and you could go back and look or whatever, I would recommend you go look at that. That's pretty funny too. So I stayed up a little later than I should, and that's hard in the morning. But
well, sometimes you have to do that.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
Before we really get started, I want to make sure that everybody knows all the ways they can listen to KCAA AM 1050. First, you can find us in the Inland Empire at 1050 on the AM dial. You can also find us worldwide on KCAAradio.com, where you'll find links to all of our social media. We love it when you interact with us on social media. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also watch our embedded Ustream feed right on the website, or you can click through and watch it on Ustream. If you've got a flip phone or a home phone and you want to be able to listen, you can call to listen at 832-999-1050. That's 832-999-1050. You can also, if you're heading into LA or OC, use the TuneIn app on your phone, plug it into your car. You can listen to us all the way into work if you have an iPhone. If you have an Android device, you can do the same thing at KCAAexpress.com. We have a great show for you today. We will be joined in the second half of the show by Michael Sweet, who is a municipal bankruptcy attorney with Fox Rothschild. He's been on the show before. Absolutely love to have him come back today to talk about this plan of adjustment for the city of San Bernardino from a legal standpoint. This is big news, and it's what 2 3/4 years in the making.
Yep.
To get this done, and so he's going to have a perspective that we might not have heard before.
Well, and speaking of the bankruptcy, I saw online this morning a letter from several of our local elected assembly people sort of chastising the city council and encouraging them to not contract out the fire department to a private company. And I had kind of a weird reaction to that letter because our state representatives have done absolutely nothing to help San Bernardino with its bankruptcy.
Nothing.
And so for them to come in at this late stage when the plan has just been revealed and to chastise one of the choices or options that the city's put on the table just strikes me as really sort of obnoxious. It's like, excuse me? And when Detroit went bankrupt, the state was intimately involved, and they did essentially a contract with the city and said, "Look, we'll give you money, but you have to do certain things." And they forced the city to fix some of the problems by using that leverage of their state money. But California's attitude was basically hands off. You got to take care of yourself, and so. I just have no respect for people who do that, who come in at the last minute wagging their finger when they've never offered a helping hand.
Yes. Well, and I wonder what campaign contributions they've gotten from
fire unions.
From fire unions.
Yeah,
and you wonder, were they invited to come in? Because the whole thing was under a gag order, so I don't know. Were they invited to come in and do that, or
they're going out for a request for proposals, and they've included in that some private agencies. But there are public agencies as well that will be bidding on whether to take over the fire department, and I'm sure all this will be weighed, on which one's better. And I'm not sure how I feel about opting to sending it out to a private company. I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. But just the idea of these other guys wagging their finger and saying don't do it, when they've never offered a helping hand. And there's a lot of things the state could have done. The state actually has.
But my point is, did they get invited into the group?
Who's
to do
they?
That? Oh, whoever made those statements. I don't even know who made those statements.
Two assembly people, Connie Leyva and Mark Steinorth, sent a letter.
Really? So we got a Democrat and a Republican.
Yes.
So it wasn't anything partisan. It was just
they
decided to make a letter. But I was just wondering, had Connie Leyva and Mark Steinorth been invited into the core group of people that were considering this, because there was a gag order and nobody could tell.
Yeah, no, they weren't part of the city's planning process or any of those things. They just are two outsiders who have now sent this letter saying don't do this thing. And as I was saying,
both, by the way, elected probably about less than a year ago.
Yeah,
so,
and I get that, but again, to jump in at this point in the process with the wagging the finger instead of some offering of a helping hand. The state has a completely different process when school districts go bankrupt. School districts, the elected school boards, essentially lose their authority, and the state assigns a special superintendent to come in who will run the district until it's financially viable again. And the school board can take votes, but the votes don't count. They're just sort of ceremonial. And this unelected, state-appointed person actually runs the district for a period of time, and the state also gives them money so that they don't go bankrupt, so they can continue operating just as usual, and which they have to then pay back over a period of time. And so the state does a lot more things for school districts. I don't understand why they don't have a similar type of system set up for cities.
I got a question for you, Tobin. Maybe you know it because I don't. There was a deadline from this Judy Jury, I believe her name was, for the May 29th, which they made with the vote. What happened? What would happen if they didn't make that vote, if they didn't take action? Could they unincorporate the city?
No, they wouldn't unincorporate, but they would have been bounced out of the bankruptcy process, which is pretty clear, and which would have meant that all their creditors could then immediately come and start seizing assets. And so the fear is that if they missed that deadline, you'd have people lining up trucks at City Hall and wheeling out computers and anything they could get
Police
their hands
cars,
on.
Fire trucks.
Yeah, anything they could get their hands on to cash in and get their money back.
That's never happened anywhere before.
No, it has not.
No, and so, thankfully they made their deadline.
But we should save that discussion for Michael Sweet.
Yeah.
It's actually time for a break. It's 6:17. So I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, and we will be right back.
Poor Barack Obama. He's been making more flashy moves than an Olympic ice skater, trying to get Democrats in Congress to cheer his Trans-Pacific Partnership. But instead, they're roundly booing him. The president is on such thin ice with this ponderous giveaway to global corporate giants that his appeals for support have turned desperate, including this recent claim that TPP is, quote, the most progressive trade deal in history. Wow, that's a low bar. Does he mean more progressive than the thoroughly regressive NAFTA? Or maybe he's comparing TPP to King George III's East India Trading Company, which was such a bully that it sparked the American Revolution. Indeed, Obama is trying some bullying of his own. He's pushing the lie that such Democrats as Senator Elizabeth Warren are lying when they point out that TPP would let foreign corporations sue the U.S. in corporate-run international tribunals to force our officials to weaken or kill laws that might pinch a corporation's profits. There is no chance, zero chance of that happening, the president barked. But as he knows, it already has happened. In April, under another trade agreement, his own administration was directed by a WTO tribunal to change and essentially gut a U.S. food labeling law that has dramatically reduced the killing of dolphins by commercial tuna fishing fleets. Responding to public outrage over the mass slaughtering of the mammals, our Congress passed an effective dolphin-free law. But some tuna operations in Mexico complained that using dolphin-free nets hurt their profits, and the WTO ordered our sovereign nation to surrender our law to the dolphin-killing Mexican profiteers. This is Jim Hightower saying, by claiming that, quote, no trade agreement is going to force us to change our laws, President Obama is either lying or he doesn't know what's in his own agreement.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here. We just saw the biggest jump in mortgage rates in more than 25 years. So now it's more important than ever to lock in your loan with a professional who has a thorough understanding of this wild mortgage market. That pro, Steve Aladort, the loan financial planner from Rancho Financial. Steve is one of the top 1% of mortgage originators in the entire country. And for years, Steve has worked with me, my family members and friends, and in most cases will close your loan in 30 days or less. Time is critical if you're ready to buy or refi. No one knows where rates will go next. Learn the advantages of working with a direct lender who can fast-track your loan. Steve Aladort can calculate which program is best for you and educate you about all of your options. Call the loan financial planner, Steve Aladort, at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070. Or watch Steve's free home loan webinar at loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Are you particular about the vitamins and supplements you take? Have you found that the big chain stores simply don't have what you need? Then you should know about the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. You'll find rock-bottom prices on gourmet, top-quality vitamins and mineral supplements at the Vitamin Center. Get 30% off on all supplements and homeopathic products. All, not just selected merchandise. In addition, you'll find 30% off on all cosmetics, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, makeup, hair coloring, and lip gloss. And all tea products are discounted 20%. Why go anywhere else? See for yourself at the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills, 5007 Canaan Road in Agora Hills. Or check out the savings and place your order online, VitaminCenterAgoraHills.com. Start saving by getting what you need from the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. And tell a friend that the Vitamin Center ships nationwide. Call 818-707-0005. That's 818-707-0005. The Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
It's time for some Dillylicious food at Pizza Dilly. Pizza Dilly Pizza in Colton, home of the famous 2-foot pizza with 32 slices of simply the best Dillylicious Pizza Dilly mouth-watering pizza. Pizza Dilly has all kinds of lunch specials Monday through Friday, starting at $3.99, all Dillylicious. Stop by, refresh, refuel, have a cold drink, enjoy a tasty salad or a great specialty Dillylicious sub sandwich, or simply Dilly-lightful Pizza Dilly wings. Pizza Dilly is also People Dilly because your friends are all already there enjoying one of Pizza Dilly's giant screens, watching one of their favorite teams, and if you love the Dodgers, you'll love Pizza Dilly, your hometown Dodger station, all year round. Come on in, enjoy a great pizza, enjoy Pizza Dilly, the real Dilly deal at 194 East Valley Boulevard in Colton, or call 909-370-0242. Once again, that's 909-370-0242.
Welcome back to On the Brink, the morning show here on KCAA. Love that song. Woohoo! Woohoo! I know I keep talking about the music, but gets people pumped up. It's Thursday morning. It's almost the weekend.
We are on the brink of the weekend.
We are on the brink of the weekend, and the best thing about it is that it's a 3-day weekend. Woohoo! Woohoo! Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I like being on the brink. I love you who worked that on the brink of the weekend.
On the brink of the weekend.
Show. Hey, that's pretty cool. And the gang.
Now, of course, we will be here on Monday, just so that our listeners know.
Oh, that's right.
We will be here Monday morning.
Yeah,
but
don't forget.
Then we have the rest of the day.
That's right.
Maybe we'll go get breakfast after. I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe we'll go for a 20-mile run.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Tobin, I'll be thinking of you.
Yeah, seriously. No.
I would go on a mile run, and I'd be like, you can just get a new operation.
My students at my school have to do the mile for PE, and they're all freaking out because they're about to get their final grades, and some of them haven't done their miles.
They ran in the marathon.
No, not the marathon kids. All the students.
Oh, okay.
The PE kids.
That's
and
like
so
4 times around the track.
The
right?
PE teachers let them make up their miles that they missed at the end of the year here to get their grade up. So these kids are coming into my class exhausted and sweaty because they've done nothing but run because they're trying to get their grade up before the end of the semester. And they're out there doing mile after mile. I think it's great. The PE teachers are just laughing.
So, for everybody else out there, I just said this 4 times, like a standard school track.
Right. It's a 440.
Yeah, it's 4 times around it. Do they have to run it all at once?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they'll do 1 mile at a time, and it's timed because the state requires that a kid in middle school be able to do the mile within 12 minutes.
Oh,
and
wow.
so they have
that's a
to
little bit.
in order for it to count, they have to do it under the 12-minute time. So these kids are not just walking it; they got to run.
I don't know sure if I could do that.
That's a presidential fitness standard put in by, I think, Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's the one that did that fitness challenge for the schools, and it's been going on ever since. And it's become a state standard in California, or has been for a while.
But I've had kids showing up to my class, just exhausted because they've been out there running mile after mile to make up their grades. I just love the fact that the PE teachers are holding them accountable for that.
And if I was a teacher, I think I'd have a little can of deodorant or something.
This is middle school.
It gets a little funky.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this story that I have to talk about. 7 former New Jersey nurses have been charged with criminal neglect in the case of a woman who needed her hand amputated after a broken finger wasn't treated properly. An indictment issued last month said 7 Vineland Developmental Center nurses failed to aid the physical or mental health of resident Wendy Hart, whom officials describe as physically and mentally disabled. Prosecutors allege that the nurse wrapped a bandage around Hart's hand so tightly that it developed gangrene and had to be amputated in April 2012. According to a State Department of Health and Human Services report, this is according to a report, an orthopedic surgeon who saw Hart that month said the bandage was wrapped so tightly only God could have removed it. Officials say 2 of the defendants are registered nurses. The other is a licensed practical nurse. They are charged with endangering the welfare of a disabled person.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, how tight? And was she crying? That must have hurt.
Well, if this is a person who has speech issues or whatever, I mean, maybe she's not able to communicate very well, what she's feeling, and these people obviously didn't care, right?
I'm just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I
almost ended up serving on a jury a couple years ago, and actually got myself off the jury. It was kind of a similar case. A woman was suing a couple of doctors because she said she didn't receive adequate care. Now, I had an issue with the way it was presented to us as they were doing the jury selection, and I made the case that I couldn't be unbiased, and mostly because the way it was presented, it seemed like this woman was looking to cash in.
Right.
That she was essentially, she had been bitten by her own dogs, gone to the hospital, had some care, and then, sometime later it got this infection or whatever. And it seemed to me that there was quite reasonable, how do you know when she got the infection? Because she didn't take care of herself in the aftercare.
Right.
And it was her own dogs, and it seemed like she was just one of these people that was looking to cash in. And so I made that case, and the judge did not like that I made that case. I think I kind of screwed up the whole jury pool because they were all kind of like, yeah, I believe the same thing. This woman's trying to cash in. And after he let me go, I'm sure that a lot of other people are like, yeah, he's cashing in.
Got to seat another jury. So let's take another break. Our guest is already on the line, so we'll be real quick. It's 6:27. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we got Mark Westwood in the booth, and we'll be right back. And when we get back, we'll be talking with Michael Sweet from Fox Rothschild about San Bernardino's bankruptcy.
This is KCAA.
There's a man named Dr. Wallach who is anything but your typical doctor. Both a veterinarian and naturopathic physician, Doc asks, why does the United States spend more money on health care by far and still rank 50th in health and longevity worldwide? He believes that people should empower themselves with a basic understanding of nutrition, taking charge of their life, and attain optimal health and longevity through nutrition, not by toxic prescription drugs leading to side effects. This is clearly a deadly recipe. The good news is Doc Wallach's message is resonating with an increasing number of Americans who are waking up to all the big government and big pharma manipulation of our healthcare system. I like what Doc Wallach is saying and doing to enlighten people about healthcare.
Well said, Alex. Join the movement today. To purchase longevity products, go to www.kcaaradio.com. Click on the Buy Longevity image or call toll-free 855-909-3047. That's 855-909-3047.
It's Mike Manahan, host of Biz Rap Radio, the show all about small business and entrepreneurs. Join me every Friday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA Radio.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Welcome back to On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth, and we're now joined by Michael Sweet, municipal bankruptcy attorney with Fox Rothschild in San Francisco. He's a regular guest on the show and always offers insight about what's going on in San Bernardino. Michael, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So, have you seen the plan of adjustment, and what do you think?
Well, it's out. It was put out to the public at the end of last week, and it was approved by the city council on Monday night. It's not much of a surprise, given where San Bernardino has found itself after not being able to pass those 2 ballot measures last November, and after making a commitment that it wouldn't impair its pensions. Now the heavy lifting begins to see if they can get the plan approved by the court so that can be the blueprint for the exit from bankruptcy.
So what is that process? What does that look like?
So in bankruptcy, and in this context, Chapter 9 is similar to Chapter 11, which is a business bankruptcy, a restructuring. There's really a multi-step process. First, the plan, in this case the plan of adjustment, and a disclosure statement are presented to the court. The court rules on whether the disclosure statement provides sufficient information for someone who is going to be getting to vote on the plan so that they can understand the plan. The disclosure statement kind of is an overlay to the plan that, albeit still in legalese, tries to explain in more simple terms what all the parts of the plan do and what's going to be accomplished and how everyone is going to be treated under the plan. So there will be a phase where the city will take its disclosure statement to the court, and the court will decide whether or not it provides enough information to someone who's being asked to vote on the plan. Then, once that's accomplished, the plan and disclosure statement and ballots are mailed out to everyone who's a creditor who would get to vote on the plan. And that process could take a number of, probably not months, but a number of weeks. And then the ballots will come back and be tallied. And there's some weighing processes in bankruptcy, but if the plan gets enough votes, it can be approved. If it doesn't get enough votes in its favor, then it could still be approved, but only if the court makes certain findings. So, and this whole process is probably a 3 to 6 month process, depending on how quickly the disclosure statement gets approved and if no one has to go back to rewrite anything. The other thing that's going to happen behind the scenes, and we saw this in Detroit, which is the big bankruptcy that everyone's looking to as the model now, there'll be negotiations, I think, throughout this process. The city has made a huge cut of its bonds, and the question will be whether or not they'll cut a deal with the bonds to pay them a little bit more in exchange for having the bonds not object to or not vote against the plan. And I think in Detroit there were 6 or 7 different iterations of the plan as the city went through and negotiated with different groups of creditors. I don't think there are that many creditors at play in San Bernardino, so I don't think it could happen that many times, but that's another possibility, something we might see in the coming months.
So do you think that offering 1 penny on the dollar was a bargaining chip? Do you think that that's why they did it and they really can afford more?
Well, depending on how they move things around, they can always afford more. The question is, can they do it taking something away from someone else, or are they going to find some additional resources in another pot? Was it a bargaining chip? It's such a huge cut. I mean, you might as well tell them you're giving them nothing. So yeah, one could look at it and say that that's an opening salvo in a negotiation, and it's the city saying that unless you agree to take a significant cut, then we're going to give you almost nothing.
So is a more reasonable point to say maybe 10 cents on the dollar? I mean, what do you think is going to be considered reasonable by a court?
Well, I don't know that the court would say that the 1% isn't reasonable. I think the question is how far would the city have to go to get the bonds to agree to sign on. At the end of the day, the cuts in Stockton to the bonds were pretty significant, and the court approved them. And I don't remember. I think it wasn't 1 cent. Maybe it was 10 or 12 cents, Tobin. I don't remember specifically, but that is a range that you could see get approved, and it has to do with all the other moving parts in the plan. So recall that what bankruptcy does is it impairs it impairs debts. It brings debts down. It impairs classes of creditors in order to provide a way for the city to exit and for the city to survive. And if the city can convince the court that this is what they need to do and it's reasonable, and that the bondholders took these risks when they purchased the bonds, then it's possible that they could even get it approved at 1 cent, although it is quite a stretch.
So in the San Bernardino bankruptcy, probably the most intransigent group has been the fire union. They've sued throughout the process. They walked away from the negotiation table. And of course, a big part of the plan is this idea of outsourcing the fire department. How does that play out in the court? Are they going to become a non-factor because it's going to be outsourced, or do they still get to play in this game? And what's their leverage? What's their bargaining point?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they present themselves, and again, whether this is a negotiation or whether they accept it as it is. In outsourcing, it really depends on how you approach it. In many instances, when you outsource something, you actually end up with the same people providing the same service. They're just wearing a different hat.
Yeah.
And I guess you'd say it kind of depends on the approach that the firefighters decide to take. Are they going to fight to stop a plan which probably is going to be approved in a structure similar to what we're seeing, or are they going to work with it and try to set themselves up under the new plan in a way that's satisfactory to them?
So, is there a precedent? It's, CalPERS is being made whole completely, and then you have the bondholders that are getting a penny on the dollar. That's what's been offered. What is the precedent for that kind of difference, and is there one?
Sure. I mentioned Stockton a few minutes ago. In Stockton, the city decided not to do anything to impair CalPERS, and it did make significant cuts to the bonds. And the court noted a couple things. The court noted that it believed that the city was entitled to impair the pensions, but because the city had opted not to do it, and because in the scheme of things the cuts to the bonds made sense, holistically, the city was willing to approve a plan along those lines. So, again, a penny on the dollar, I'm not sure, a little bit more. Could start getting close to what we saw in Stockton. Again, to the first point, it really depends on what we see in the coming weeks in terms of negotiations, and do people come to the table as they did in Detroit, or do people dig in and start with the objections? And to say people came to the table in Detroit, they did, but it was a long process. There were a number of appeals filed. There were never rulings on those appeals. But the city was making cuts in the plan, and the folks who were not happy with those cuts, some of the class of creditors, started filing appeals up to the circuit, sending a message that they were going to take the fight. So there's a lot of different ways the negotiation process and the posturing could take place in coming months.
So, Michael, I like that you can give us this sort of bigger picture view by looking at some of these other bankruptcies. And there's an aspect of San Bernardino's that I want to know if it compares with Stockton, and that is that in terms of employee pensions, CalPERS is being kept whole, but the employees actually are being asked to start paying the employee share. Now, that was already forced on the employees under the bankruptcy. They basically have already done that, but they've included it in the plan going forward. They got rid of the program which is called the EPMC, the employer paid member contribution, where the city used to pay the employee share. And that's a big chunk of money. Did they do something similar up in Stockton? Are their employees now paying the employee share? And is that something that we're going to see, that cities will look at these bankruptcies and say, hey, one good thing that comes out of this is that, we're no longer sort of on the hook for paying the employee share?
Look, the reason San Bernardino and Stockton and Vallejo and any of the number of other cities that might not have had to file bankruptcy but are struggling right now, one of the reasons they got into this position is because they made promises to employees that, that wearing the rose-colored glasses they had on in 2006, 2007, 2008, they thought they could do. They just didn't pencil out. And a significant component of that was the contributions to the pensions, the retiree health, which is also being cut here in San Bernardino, the cost of living increases for the retirees. These are things where it was inevitable, if anyone looked very closely at the numbers, that as soon as there was a downturn, there were smaller resources, you weren't going to be able to do it. You had an aging, you have a retiree workforce that's living longer. You have wages that are moving too quickly. You have cost of living increases that actually cause your salary or what you take home to increase more after you retire than when you're working.
Yeah.
And it jammed them up. The cities realized that they had made promises they couldn't keep. So I think what you're seeing in the Stockton, what you saw in the Stockton plan and what you're seeing in the San Bernardino plan is an attempt to rejigger this specifically with what you've addressed, which is a reduction in the contributions that the city makes and pushing some of that burden over to the employees. And I think we're going to see that not just in these cities that are in bankruptcy, but you're seeing it around the state and other cities too, where the relationship between the city management and the bargaining units is better, and they're sitting down at the table and they're saying, look, we don't want to be the next San Bernardino. We don't want to be the next Stockton. You got to work with us.
It's interesting
because
because
some of this burden over to the employees to ensure that we are financially viable. And in many instances, you're seeing compromise. In fact, in San Francisco, where I live, there have been a number of steps taken to improve the balance of the pension contribution as between the city and the employees to improve the financial structure for the city and make sure that they can continue to move forward at a reasonable level.
Well, and
a level that works for everyone.
Several local cities have done that too. As San Bernardino went into the bankruptcy, they went back to the bargaining table and negotiated with their unions for the employees to start picking up more of the employee share. And so, I think that is one of the interesting side effects. But it strikes me as odd that no one's really talking about the fact that this is a part of San Bernardino's plan, that the employees are picking up the employee share.
I think that might be a little too much inside baseball for your average
But it's
citizen.
big money.
It is big money.
It's big money. It's millions of dollars that the city doesn't have to pay, that now will be coming off the employee's paycheck instead of out of the city's general fund.
Now,
Tobin, I think one of the reasons maybe people aren't so amazed by this is the fact that in the private sector, this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's a feeling or a sense that this is something that works in the private sector, and why can't it work in the public sector as well?
Yeah.
So how long does this next process take? Are we looking at another year before this is resolved? What does it look like?
Gee, I would hope it wouldn't be another year, and certainly the judge hopes it wouldn't be another year, based on what she said. The plan has to be filed by May 30th, so you'll see it filed by Friday. We already know what it's going to say because the City Council approved it on Monday night. It'll go in, presumably with the disclosure statement, and the court will set a hearing in the not-too-distant future on whether the disclosure is adequate and whether the plan can go out to the creditors for balloting, or whether there needs to be a more a modified disclosure. So I would think that hearing will take place in June, and unless someone voices a strong opinion and they need to go back for a rewrite, you'll see the plan going out to the creditors in July, and maybe we're out of this before Labor Day. And you'll recall that San Bernardino went into bankruptcy now, what was it, first week in July in 2012.
Yes.
So we're pushing the 3-year mark, which even in bankruptcy years is a long time.
That is a long time.
Yeah, I was struck by how quickly Detroit got theirs done comparatively.
Well, they had the state pushing them along, though.
They did, and it's a much bigger city. You'd think with all those moving parts, it would have been a little more difficult, but they flew through it compared to San Bernardino.
So I wanted to give a shout out to your law firm, Fox Rothschild, and tell our listeners about your background. You've been a regular guest on the show, and we're very grateful every time you come on with us. You are an experienced litigator and bankruptcy attorney. You have worked, you're the lead counsel for Palm Drive Healthcare District in its Chapter 9 cases against the Northern District, California. You assisted the city of Richmond, California in restructuring its finances to avoid bankruptcy. You successfully represented a California county in negotiations with state regulators over a budget shortfall to prevent Chapter 9 filing. You were the lead bankruptcy attorney in the Official Committee of Equity Investors in California Mortgage and Realty, CMR cases in the Northern District of California, which involved more than 1,200 equity investors with claims based on more than $200 million in investment. Fox Rothschild is a major firm. You have offices in Los Angeles and in San Francisco, right?
We do.
So I just wanted our listeners to know that I don't think we've talked about your background in a while. So
Well, I appreciate that, Aaron, and I appreciate the shout out. We are a national firm with 20 offices, and we're active both in Northern and Southern California. That's right.
So, and you are the expert for municipal bankruptcies. I'm very, very grateful that you spend time with us to talk about what's going on in San Bernardino. It'll be interesting to watch this unfold, and I hope that you'll join us again.
I look forward to it, and I always check you out on the stream when I join you, and I like the new look.
Oh, awesome!
I like those Apple computers, and I like your banner.
Oh well, thank you. Oh yes, we are a Mac family.
I got converted about a year ago, and it was
okay.
tough. It was tough.
I can be quiet, but not that quiet.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. It's like I said, it's always a treat when you are on the air with us.
Thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. So that's Michael Sweet joined us again, and again, it's always wonderful having him on. He's a partner with Fox Rothschild. He's in the San Francisco office, expert in municipal bankruptcies. And, he clarified a lot of things.
Yes, he did.
So it's time for another break. I'm Aaron Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we have Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050.
Just let it shine within your mind and show you the colors that are real.
1050 AM. Don't forget that number. And for you young people who got here by accidentally fat-fingering your FM band selector, we're an AM radio station. And AM refers to more than just the time of day.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. To find an independent agent near you, visit AutoOwners.com. This is Charles Osgood. When things go wrong, they cause more things to go wrong. In Southern California, as our CBS News colleague Terry Okita reports, the long drought has produced an infestation of bark beetles.
The bark beetle preys on California pines, feasting on thirsty, defenseless trees weakened from years of drought.
The trees, once tall and magnificent, are being laid low by such tiny little insects no bigger than a grain of rice. So sad to ponder.
This 125-foot ponderosa pine fell victim to an army of beetles.
In the past, the bark beetles wouldn't show up until near the end of the summer. More after this. Each year for the last several years, the vicious cycle of drought and beetle infestation in California is worse than the one before, says Terry Okita.
The tiny pest killed an estimated 800,000 acres of trees last year. Dead stalks are popping up amongst the evergreen landscapes, particularly in the forests of Central California.
Chief Glenn Barkley is with CAL FIRE, the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection.
We're going to see stands of standing dead red trees this summer. That's going to increase the fire hazard in and around communities all across the state.
The beetles eat a path through the bark, then lay their eggs. One mating pair can reproduce more than 12 million beetles a year. At that rate, it's hard for forestry experts to keep pace with the problem.
Tree removal expert Noah Whitney, who's been cutting trees for 17 years, says he has never seen it this bad.
We have a forest that is really suffering right now. You're not just talking about a handful of trees.
The Osgood File. I'll see you online at Facebook, Twitter, and at theosgoodfile.com. This is Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Like to spend a few days in another world? Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
West Coast Auto of Montclair is the 2015 top-rated pre-owned dealer in California, offering a service department that surpasses expectations in every single way. And while you're there, browse West Coast Auto's extensive lot of best-in-class pre-owned vehicles.
You're getting the best-in-class vehicles with financing options like 0% down and no payments for 90 days. Visit westcoastauto.com or call 9099-million.
West Coast Auto Montclair.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that there is no one path right for everyone. I've learned that without my high school diploma, I can only do so much. My options were limited. I found a free personalized learning program with Learn for Life that has a flexible schedule so I could keep my job while earning my high school diploma. I found new career training opportunities that would jumpstart my future. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN4LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
So, you didn't like that opinion, okay? Give us another 15 minutes. This is the station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050 KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050. Now, got an interesting story, and Tobin, why don't you talk about it?
Okay, so we don't want to put our listeners into a coma, but maybe we do. This is interesting. 6 weird things that happened after a coma, and each individual story is just crazy. So I'll give the first one, then Aaron will go the next one. We'll go back and forth on these. But the first one was a man who thought that he was Matthew McConaughey. After getting into a car accident in 2012, Rory Curtis, a 25-year-old man in England, woke up from a 6-day coma and believed that he was the actor. When he went into the restroom, went to look in the mirror, he was shocked because he didn't look like Matthew McConaughey, and I didn't know what I was looking at, he said.
He's also not from Texas.
Yeah. After enduring months of rehab and an experimental drug for his brain injury, it finally clicked for Rory that he was not, in fact, a major Hollywood star.
Wow.
Now,
that's funny.
You know, how many people have to take drugs to realize they're not a Hollywood star?
I know,
right?
You know what it makes me think of? It's have you ever watched that show Drop Dead Diva?
Yes.
It used to be on Lifetime, and I think then it went to Netflix, and it's over now. But
you watch a lot of stuff on computer, don't you? Because I know you don't have TV.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you know, it's I used to watch it. I mean, I've watched the whole series over the years, and the character, she dies, and then she goes back to Earth, and she's in a completely new body, and you know, she realizes that that she's in this new body and just freaks out. The girl's older, she's heavier, all these things, also much smarter and much wealthier. But
I get that feeling sometimes, just day to day.
Oh yeah, look at the mirror like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. What happened to time? You know, that sort of thing.
Yes, and so that's, he must have been freaked out. You think you're somebody, and you look at the mirror, and you're like, whoa. You know,
not Matthew McConaughey. So give us the next one, Aaron.
Okay, so an Australian who he woke up and he could only speak Mandarin. Ben McMahon had studied Mandarin in high school, but was far from fluent. However, after getting into a car crash, he woke up from a coma speaking nothing but Mandarin. While his English skills eventually recovered, McMahon later took advantage of his newfound Mandarin abilities by moving to Shanghai and co-hosting a Chinese TV show. So that worked for him.
The coma knocked the language skills loose somehow because he picked up something passively, because obviously he said he wasn't very good at Mandarin before. Right. And it knocked it all loose, and he comes out of this thing fluent in Mandarin. How awesome is that?
I know, right? You know, so here's this Australian who can be...
It's the old joke. Doctor will be able to play the violin. Well, sure. Well, I wasn't able to play it before. I mean
yes. Yes, exactly. Is that the Marx Brothers? I think it is.
Yeah.
So, Tobin, do the next one.
Okay. So the next one is a toddler who took up drinking and smoking. Spending 5 days in a coma left three-year-old Chinese girl with the habits of a much older person. Yao Wen was a normal toddler prior to being hit by a speeding van, reported the New York Daily News in 2010. But after she woke up from the coma, Ye Wen's mother claimed that the little girl's personality changed significantly, and she started stealing cigarettes and drinking up to 3 glasses of beer at a time.
Must have knocked her into a previous life. If they believe in reincarnation.
Seriously. And I'm sure that there's people who believe in reincarnation who are saying exact same thing. See, it's past life. She's now this, whatever she was before.
I was not hit by a van, but I still smoke and drink heavily. No, that's not true. That's not true.
You don't?
Yeah. Well, we could have an experiment. No, just kidding.
that one, though, you don't really need to be hit by anything or go into a coma to pick up those bad habits.
Yeah, seriously. So a 13-year-old girl in Croatia puzzled doctors and her family when she emerged from a 24-hour coma with the ability to only speak German and not her native Croatian. Reportedly, the girl had taken basic lessons in German, but was still at a beginner level when she mysteriously fell ill. And so then I asked myself, because, I used to be fluent in German, and I'm not fluent anymore. I still remember some, but it's not like it when I was using it all the time. And, could I be hit in the head and be out for 24 hours to have my German all come back? Hey, I'd do it.
If I come home and find her with a frying pan sitting on the couch, I'm gonna know what's up. I'm like, she's trying to get her German back.
German lessons. Boing.
That's right.
It's all in there somewhere. I just can't access it. It's in it's not accessible with using my RAM.
Just get some Rosetta Stone. Get some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
People teach themselves how to do the foreign language now via YouTube.
Do you know what it is? I understand a lot of what's said to me or what I read because I still do read it. But for me to come up with the words to be able to speak is much more difficult than it used to be. And my conjugation is terrible, and it didn't used to be.
What amazes me about these stories, though, is it speaks to what's going on inside our head. That our brain is passively picking up this stuff. It's there. Mm-hmm. It's there. We may not always be able to access it, but it's in there.
It is.
And having this coma is obviously shaking it loose. Some of these folks are suddenly able to do, but it's in there. Your brain is learning these things. You don't even know you're learning it. You don't even know you're getting it to that degree.
So
I'm trying to speak French here.
Yeah, but you're holding it up in front of the little window pane. I can't see it.
Oh, well, it's not time yet anyway. I'm just hitting my head with the cards because it was the nearest thing.
Oh, so I see.
Aaron skipped over one, so I got to do this one.
Okay.
A grandfather who became a sex addict.
I didn't want to read that one.
Yeah. An 81-year-old Swiss grandfather reportedly morphed into a sex addict after falling from a tree and slipping into a 4-day coma. What they don't tell you is he's probably up in that tree spying on the old lady next door.
Probably.
According to Angelo DeLuca's son, Danielle, the sex-mad senior citizen, spent more than $4,000 at a brothel after recovering from the fall.
Sure.
Danielle suspected that the coma must have wiped out a brain function that inhibits the sex drive and took control of his dad's affairs.
I wonder if it just took away his ability to say no to himself, that he's now acting on what he always wanted to act on in the first place. He's no longer, he can't tell himself no. His impulse control is gone.
Grandpa's just trying to get out of something he's guilty of.
I told you he was up in that tree looking at the lady next door. This is not new. This is not new. He's just got an excuse
grandpa. Now everybody knows.
He's just got an excuse.
I have $2,000 worth of 976 calls on my phone bill. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
The last story is a mother who thought she was a teen. When 32-year-old Sarah Thompson woke up from a 10-day coma in 2012, she thought it was 1998 and that she was 19 again, not the married mother of 3. The Brit had no recollection of the prior 14 years, including personal memories like marrying her husband or world events like 9/11, and had no idea who the kids were. She thought they were somebody else's kids. Can you imagine? Poor kids.
That's a good approach to divorce.
I think the same thing happened to my mom. She came home one day and she said she'd retired from being a mom, and she looked at us like we were strangers.
Tobin's parents are like Ozzie and Harriet. Give me a break. He has the best parents ever.
I tease though. My mom did come home one day. She's a middle school teacher just like me, and she was frustrated and she was tired of having to do all the mommy duties after working a long day at teaching middle school, and she went off on us one time.
Because you're being lazy little nitwits, I imagine.
Right, and she said, "I retired. I'm done. Take care of yourselves."
Well, it is 6:59. It's Thursday. Have a productive, wonderful day, everybody. I'm Aaron Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we got Mark Westwood in the booth. This is On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050. Again, have a great day, everybody.
One more day till Memorial Day weekend.
Yay! Rock the boat. I don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Ever since our voyage of love began.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Burger protest, beach cleanup, farm jobs. I'm Dirk Van. They want a raise and a union. McDonald's protesters are making their voices heard to Mickey D's shareholders, as correspondent Michael Toscano reports.
Several thousand protesters are continuing their demonstration at the McDonald's shareholders meeting at the company's Oak Brook, Illinois headquarters, calling on McDonald's to raise wages to $15 an hour.
Earlier this year, McDonald's agreed to hike starting pay. Plains All-American Pipeline is feeling the heat after its latest oil spill, currently coating the beaches of Santa Barbara, California. Correspondent Paul Verkaman says there's a history here.
Back in 2010, Plains paid out more than $40 million in a settlement to upgrade pipeline, and because of penalties,
about 20,000 gallons of crude are spoiling the Santa Barbara beaches. And a future in farming. A new report finds high demand for college grads with a degree in agricultural programs, 60,000 new jobs through 2020. I'm Dirk Van.
Performance Bicycle, where great rides begin, wants your great ride to start now. Now through Memorial Day, it's the Red Tag Sale at performancebike.com. Over 1,000 items on sale, plus free shipping. Red Tag deals on helmets, clothing, parts, accessories, and hundreds of bikes are priced to sell now. Plus 50 doorbusters at 50% off, but only while supplies last. Don't miss Performance Bicycle's Red Tag Sale, plus free shipping at performancebike.com.
At Olympic, we make every project easy, every step of the way. So now you can easily beautify your outdoor deck with Olympic Elite or Maximum Stain. Or try one of our paint and primers in one, like Olympic One with exclusive Easy Wash formula, or Olympic Icon at a value starting at under $20 per gallon.
This Memorial Day, stop by Lowe's and save $10 on Olympic paints and stains via online and mail-in rebate, exclusively at Lowe's. Results vary by sheen. Offer valid 5/20 through 5/27 and applies to 114 to 128 fluid ounce cans only.
And good morning to you. Mark Westwood, 702, taking a look at Inland Empire weather as we grab onto this Thursday and hang on till Memorial Day, that's for sure. Well, it looks like this weather-wise. Stick around. If you don't like it, it's going to change. Partly cloudy through today and turning cooler again, ladies and gentlemen. Patchy overnight drizzle with lows around 55. Highs dropping to 67 on Friday with a, get ready, when they say 50% chance of rain, you're wet. Anything over 30%, you're wet. 50% chance of showers, partly cloudy Saturday, becoming mostly sunny, and then warmer Sunday as it warms up for a beautiful Memorial Day, we hope. Taking a look at Inland Empire traffic in Riverside, we have a spilled load in the right lane blocking the 91 eastbound before Van Buren Boulevard. It's a SIG alert, 91 east before Van Buren Boulevard. A crash involving lost fuel has the right lane blocked. Traffic is slow from before La Sierra. In Corona, stop-and-go traffic 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. The east is jammed from La Sierra to Van Buren Boulevard. The 71 south is slow and busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. That's a look at your weather and traffic from the only station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA 1050 AM. This weather and traffic report brought to you by Unbound. Do something meaningful today. Change the life of a child living in poverty. Change the life of a child living in poverty. Learn more at unbound.org. That's unbound.org.
Listen to KCAA Loma Linda for less confrontation and more information. Are you particular about the vitamins and supplements you take? Have you found that the big chain stores simply don't have what you need? Then you should know about the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. You'll find rock-bottom prices on gourmet, top-quality vitamins and mineral supplements at the Vitamin Center. Get 30% off on all supplements and homeopathic products. All, not just selected merchandise. In addition, you'll find 30% off on all cosmetics, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, makeup, hair coloring, and lip gloss. And all tea products are discounted 20%.